first, we welcome in former head coach Eric Mangini. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Good to see you, Coach.
You too.
It's nice to have a former NFL head coach in here on the day after the draft. We have lots of questions for you, so we're going to talk some Thunder basketball. They have a big game coming up tonight.
I'd like to start. That's what I watched last night.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I see you brought your analytics guy, too.
I did.
You brought your son.
My expert, Jake, is here. All of his opinions are his own.
Jake is Eric's 14-year-old adorable son
who Jenna was begging to follow her on Instagram because she is the craziest person on television.
I literally just said, "Did you follow?" He says, "No, I don't."
Come on now, I have you. This is your debut. I'm gonna try you out for Nick Wright's spot since your picks are better than his.
Yeah.
An important thing that we need to understand, Jake, is this is TV and it's live.
Okay.
And
you got it.
Everything you
Go
say
ahead.
is
Did you follow any part of the draft last night, Jake?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your question?
Let's go to the Cleveland Browns. You're right there. I think you're a fan of that team, right? Who do you? You're a football fan.
I am a football
Who's your
fan.
favorite team?
The Houston Texans, surprisingly.
Oh, so you're thrilled they weren't picking yesterday because they got Deshaun Watson with that pick.
You get J.J. Watt back?
Iffy because he got injured. So
We need to break down what Cleveland did at 1 and 4. Give us the Mangini household analysis of those two picks.
I feel a little iffy about Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
I think he was a good pick overall, but I like Tyrod Taylor there, and I like Tyrod Taylor and Jarvis Landry's chemistry. So I think also Baker could learn a lot of things from Tyrod. So I think that's
nice. What about Denzel Ward, the DB coming from the Buckeyes there? Do you think they reached for him at number 4? Fastest DB in the draft, fastest at the combine?
I think it was a good pick. I like it. They need help at the DB spot.
Help in the secondary is always a positive thing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, next time we have a Mangini on, we'll just have him on.
Yeah, I know.
Great choice. Thank you so much,
Your
Jake.
TV debut.
We really appreciate it.
Hit him on the gram. What's your?
We'll get him on the line.
No, don't touch, Mary. No, don't.
Hit him on the gram.
Let's not.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, we do. Listen.
No.
Let's
We gotta talk
His dad don't have no choice. Your Uncle Chris
Okay.
says yes.
Okay.
I didn't tell him to hit him as DMs. I said hit him. That's different.
Jake, thank you very, very much.
Thank you guys.
Have you back for the 2019 draft.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, in my very best raspy Roger Goodell voice, with the first pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select, and a very pregnant pause, just long and dramatic enough for Browns fans to pray that this will, in fact, turn out the right way. The Browns select Baker Mayfield. You heard Jake say it first. We'll get to him in a second. At number 2, Giants took Saquon Barkley. At 3, the Jets grabbed Sam Darnold. Did it quickly because they were afraid someone else was going to jump in and grab him. Ohio State cornerback Denzel Ward went to the Browns at 4. And Bradley Chubb to the Broncos to round out the top 5. But let's get back to Baker Mayfield. Coach, did the Browns finally get it right by selecting Baker Mayfield first overall? For many, many weeks we thought this was Sam Darnold, then it looked like it was Josh Allen, and then in the last 48 hours or so we heard Baker.
Here's what I liked. I like the fact that they stayed put. They got the guy that they believed in. And last year there was talk about them being able to trade back up and get Mitchell Trubisky, and they end up missing out on Trubisky. Now, whether that works out in their favor, now we'll see. So I like that aspect of it, and I like the fact that they got a guy who protects the football. They have that in Tyrod Taylor. Now they have that in Baker Mayfield. With Deshaun Kaiser, historically, that situation's been one where they lost a lot of games as opposed to being even in a position to win it. So that's positive. In terms of his fitting into that system, him fitting into that climate, I think that's going to be challenging. And you've got Todd Haley there, who goes from Ben Roethlisberger to now Baker Mayfield, pretty radically different styles. So I don't know how that fit's going to work out. And there's dramatically different feels for this guy around the league. Friends of mine saying they had him in the second round, and even low second round on some draft boards.
Based on height, based on talent level, or based on personality?
Based on the whole package, based on some concerns about character, based on some concerns about his ability to continue to develop. And I think those are all legitimate.
And we shouldn't, when you say height, like, we shouldn't underrate this. He's the first quarterback under 6'1" to go first overall since Mike Vick. Like, it's not unprecedented, but it is fleetingly rare for a guy his size to go #1 overall. The guys we bring up all the time, Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, not only did not go #1 overall, neither one of them went in the first round at all. So there is clearly that has been a legitimate concern, or at least a seemingly legitimate concern for some time.
I like to rely on a good friend of mine, Bill Parcells. I know a friend of yours. He has a few theories as far as what he likes to apply to a guy. Is he a franchise quarterback? One rule he has is he a 3-year starter, and he checks that box. One is, does he graduate from college? Baker Mayfield, him and Josh Allen are the 5 quarterbacks. Those are the only 2 to graduate. Did he start 30 games? Yes. Started 47 games. Did he win? Which is important going into that culture. Parcells like to have the grade of because they're 3-year start, did he win 23 games? Baker Mayfield won 39 games. Touchdown to interception ratio, is it 2 to 1? Yes. Completion percentage above 60, he was 68%. So when you're looking at quarterback, he checks a lot of the boxes. Now, it's flavor of ice cream. You know, that's why you can have a 2nd round grade. But the Browns, they love Baker. I believe his skill set will be utilized best there. I believe that Tyrod's a good guy. I believe that he will help him, as it will be a benefit. Even though Tyrod knows that he's the starter day one, he knows he's got this #1 pick over his shoulders that ultimately will take that clipboard. He'll take the clipboard from him.
And just real quick on the Parcells checklist, Baker went 7 for 7. None of the other first-round quarterbacks went more than 4 for 7. I think Lamar went 4 out of 7. And then
all the quarterbacks have warts. It's just a matter of which ones you're willing to live with.
And when you look at Parcells' history, I mean, he did have Tony Romo in Dallas, who was a free agent. So it's not like he was completely married to that chart. And that's what you do as coaches. You try to say, okay, here's the criteria that we're going to go off of, but there's no criteria that fits perfectly. It's going to be about his ability to handle the pressure of being the #1 pick, and they're going to push him to play. I know they're saying Tyrod's there, but last year, Deshaun Kaiser, he's our guy. 3 weeks or 4 weeks in the season, he wasn't the guy anymore. You're sitting on the #1 pick overall. That guy's going to play, and he's going to play sooner than we think.
Is the potential during the season transition from Tyrod to Baker easier because stylistically they have some similarities?
Well, Hugh is going to run his system, and it's going to be interesting to see the effect that Todd Haley has on that system. Ideally, you have 2 quarterbacks that are stylistically the same, so you can go in and out of plays that they like easier than if you had radically different guys. This is a boom or bust type pick. It's no lock by any stretch.
There's still some questions there in Cleveland, but people wondering, when does Baker get into the lineup? If they don't solve the riddle of the left tackle, Joe Thomas retired. That hadn't been addressed. If they don't get that solved, they'll go through all the quarterbacks on their roster, because you do not want a young quarterback in Baker Mayfield playing behind an inexperienced left tackle.
And when you look at Michael Vick or you look at Russell Wilson, those guys had elite escapability. Baker Mayfield doesn't have that type of escapability.
We'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about the Browns' 4th pick. Everyone had them taking at least Bradley Chubb or someone else, and then for them to grab Denzel Ward. Did that shock you, surprise you?
No. Look, I like the idea of addressing the secondary, and especially addressing the cornerback position. Left tackles, corners, those guys are really hard to find. And if you've got a guy that you believe can go in and take away a part of the field, then you can push the rest of the defense to the other side. So they needed help in the secondary. They needed a dramatic upgrade, and they're hoping that this guy is going to be it. They hope that Ward can be that, and there's a lot of good things about him.
Oh, no, I thought we were moving on. I apologize. I was going to...
Denzel Ward's a great player. Ohio State produced more quarterbacks than anyone in college football.
They had said to me, I want to follow up one thing on the Denzel Ward thing if we have time. I didn't think we had time. My apologies. Do you have any concern with because I tweeted this last night, like, I hope Baker and Ward are both multi-time All-Pros. But when you draft guys at 1 and 4, that maybe you could have gotten at 5 and 8, like, does that bother you at all as someone that's been in those rooms? But whether or not, even if you got your guys, whether or not you could have added more assets to your team by trading back and still getting your guys.
Okay, let me tell you a quick story. In the 3rd round of my first draft, I really wanted this guy named Chris Gokong. I love this guy. We were going to take him. Philly calls us, says, hey, do you want to trade back with us? It was 2 spots. And we looked at him and said, they don't need a linebacker. They don't need a linebacker. We said, okay, we'll trade back. Philly takes Chris Gokong, and it was one of those moments where, okay, so we picked up a 6th-round draft pick, and we lost the guy that we wanted. So if you have a conviction and you feel that strongly, whether you get him at 5, 6, 8, 10, if he's good, it doesn't matter.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much.
All right.
I think
Appreciate
he's
it.
staying.
What's that?
I think he's staying.
Coach, stay with us. No, can I just say, I've never in the history of this show asked back-to-back questions. So when you looked at me, I was like,
This is my bad. I dropped the ball. I fumbled.
breaking
It was
the
a
drum.
fumble. I
Oh, my
apologize.
goodness
I was
gracious.
shaken by Jake getting ready to take my job, and I was shaking.
Josh Rosen's got some harsh words for the teams that passed on him. Wait till you hear what he had to say. I think Coach really liked it. Next on First Things First.
We do that because of the attention span.
Went out with friends you could tell.